Basketball season won't be around forever, so get in on all the action now with DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports. DraftKings is giving new players a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Claim your free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes when using the code THPN during sign-up.
Playing daily fantasy basketball is simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition.
Feel the sweat like never before. Every dunk, steal, assist means so much more with the DraftKings daily fantasy lineup.
Baseball fans. I don't know why I said it like that. Baseball fans, you may have missed out on season-long fantasy, so now is the time to get in on all the daily fantasy action where DraftKings has even more ways to make it rain.
With DraftKings, payday comes every day for players, so what are you waiting for? Head out to the app now.
Download the DraftKings app now and use code THPN during sign-up. This week, DraftKings is putting you in the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. That's code THPN, and you can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes and only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You are now tuned in to the Windy City Benders podcast. This is WCBP.
All right, it's a very special edition of the WCB podcast, a part of the Hockey Podcast Network. We're uploading this early for a couple reasons. The most important reason, we had Kris fucking Versteeg on the show.
Yeah. Kris Versteeg, baby.
What
the beauty, Steegalicious.
What a fucking interview!
I love him.
Oh my god! Like, I know he was a great guy. You know, everybody knows he's a personality. He's got that swagger. You know, but actually sitting there talking to him, having a conversation for like almost like 45 minutes, or I think that was.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah. Great stories. There was so much more we wanted to ask. I really think we are going to get a second episode with him. So the other reason we're posting this a little bit early is today marks the birthday of the WCB podcast. The show turns 4 years old today.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's been 4 years old, and we only have 133 episodes.
The math doesn't check out.
Yeah. But no, so it's been a crazy, awesome journey with this whole thing, you know, starting in Noli's basement, using one mic, sharing it, passing it around, to interviewing Stanley Cup champions, Hockey Hall of Famers, stars of Letterkenny, comedian Earl Skakel, Kendall Coyne, all this.
Steve Dangle, baby.
Steve Dangle, Frank from Hockey Illuminati. We cannot forget him.
Ed Belfour.
Yeah, I said Hockey Hall of Famer. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, I'm just in my own head, just like,
dude. We're so amped from this interview. Yeah, we literally just stopped. He got off, and we're doing this intro really quick. But yeah, all this would not be possible if it wasn't for the listeners joining the Hockey Podcast Network. I know we're early on in that, but none of that would have been possible if, you know, we didn't have the backing from you guys and the support, and we're thank you for that. And we are hoping that this is just the start of much more amazing content coming.
Yeah. You know, it sounds good to me. Let's get more. Let's do more.
So,
I was going to say real quick, I know the Hawks did play since last time we recorded, but we'll just talk about that on Sunday. It's not a good game. So.
No, it wasn't a good game. We'll talk about Andrew Shaw, too, on Sunday. We didn't
even get to ask Versteeg about Shaw. We got to talk to him again.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about. But, we'll talk about all that Sunday episode. We want to keep this episode strictly the Versteeg interview. Some great stories about, growing up playing the 2010 Cup season, 2015, what he's up to now. He's up to some really awesome stuff, which we're going to link the link to all his website of this app that he's going to be doing. That's going to help coaching and players and all that kind of stuff.
Klevr. Klevr with like KLEVR.
The
website is klevr.ai.
Awesome stuff. And then do a couple quick rapid fire questions. We can get an awesome story about Phil the Thrill. So definitely listen to this episode full through, and we will see you guys on Monday.
Yeah, let's get to that. Let's get that little Steger interview, huh? Perfect.
All right, so today we are joined by a very special guest. He is a 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the Chicago Blackhawks. Please welcome to the show, Kris Versteeg. Kris, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
You know, it's a long time coming. We are fans. Every time we post up, like, hey, who do you want to talk to this year, or who should we get on the show? You like blow everybody out of the water. It's insane.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, are they waiting to bring me on so they can just tear me down, or is it actually do they actually want to listen to what I have to say?
I think it's all just diehard Hawks fans. So like they love the Versteeg lifestyle. They just love the personality.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I clearly I know I'm not for everybody, but I do know that I love Chicago and I loved all the fans, even though a lot probably didn't like me at times, especially coming across the blue line. But regardless, man, I love them all. Seriously, they made me who I am today. So very fortunate to have all the Hawks fans always in my corner, or whoever decides to be, whoever. But all the ones that do, it's been amazing.
We'll always be in your corner. We got you, my guy.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, just to get started, let's get started from the beginning, I guess. You know, how did you get started into hockey? I know you grew up in Canada, so I'm just assuming classic Canadian child growing up playing hockey all the time. But is there anything different about the way you grew up?
No, there was nothing really different. I know my father kind of got me on skates, you know, maybe a couple times during the winter when I was 3. And then at 4, maybe once every couple of weeks, we would play a youth hockey. It's like a church hockey league. You'd maybe play once a month, And then I did that up until I was 6. And when I was 6, I joined my first club team. And in Canada, I believe club starts at 3 now, and in the States, in a lot of areas, it's 3-4. So It's a lot different now than it was then. But realistically, I started playing my first games when I was 6. And then, just stayed in Lethbridge, Alberta, where I grew up playing club hockey all the way until, I even played junior too. So I was able to play in my hometown pretty long time.
Did so you know, growing up, obviously anybody playing hockey, the dreams to play in the NHL. Did you have like one of those moments where you were like, oh man, this is more realistic than just a dream? Like was there a certain time or like team that you were like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do?
Well, I mean, I believed more I could play in the NHL up until I was about 13 than I did probably when I was 17. Because when you're 13, 12, it's almost like anything is possible. And then all of a sudden you get a little closer and you're like, oh boy, I don't know if that's even possible. Sorry, my alarm's going off for you guys.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
What the heck is going on here? Sorry. So I'll keep going. I turned it completely off. Anyways, it was like, man, I remember being like 8, 9, 10, 11, thinking like for sure I can play in the NHL. You know, it's just a young cocky kid. And then when you get a little bit older, you're like, okay, I can play maybe. And then when you get in junior, and I mean, I wasn't the easiest person to contain as a teenager, so I didn't really have the greatest junior career, but I was drafted. So kind of around that time, I didn't really think it was possible. But when I really started to think it was possible is when I was 19, turning 20, I got called up to play in the AHL, played really well. And that summer I went to work for 5 months. I went from like 165 to 185. I mean, I was running, you know, extremely fast compared to the year before. I just trained and did everything I could. So that's where I physically made a big hurdle. And then from 20 to 21, when I was with Rockford, I remember in that summer, I started to shift my mentality. I know I worked with my trainer more on the mental side too. I tell this story a lot. I would hold my arm out, and when he'd say, "Do you believe you could play in the NHL?" I would say, yeah, but my arm would fall down. So he would start to like rewire my brain to like subconsciously believe I could do it. So by the end of the summer, my arm was stiff as a board. I know it sounds like voodoo,
okay,
but I really went to work when I was 20 to 21 on the mental part of my game. And it's crazy. I remember even before that season, I was like, I'm physically ready. I'm physically better than a lot of guys, but now I'm mentally there. And I remember at the end of the summer before I left to Chicago, I said that I was going to win, the rookie of the year, or I was going to be up for the rookie of the year. My friends all laughed at me. They're like, you're not even in the NHL really. And it happened. So there was like about a 2-year shift in my mentality that it took to get me to the NHL. But I would be lying to tell you if at 18, I was like, I'm going to play in the NHL, because by then I didn't think really much was possible in hockey for me.
So just thinking like mentality wise, I didn't realize how much that really kind of affects that kind of jump. Really, have you seen any guys that pretty much had the skills physically but just weren't there mentally that couldn't make that jump then?
I've seen so many guys that mentally couldn't make the jump. And when it comes to making the jump, it's part luck. You got to make your luck, though. It's good timing. It's having a coach that likes you, but it's when you get that small window, you got to make it count, because if you don't make it count, then the next guy's coming up, get a chance. And then if you get traded, you're with a new team, but you're a little older. And then unless you really tear it up there, you're not going to get your chance. So you really got to be super opportunistic. If you're not a first, or between probably a first rounder actually now, but if you're not a first round pick, you really got to be ready to pounce on your opportunities and have a little luck as well.
Nice. While you were in Lethbridge on the WHL, you got to play with Seabrook for a few years there. Yeah. Did you know he was going to be the leader that he turned out to be? Like, was he already that when he was there, or was it kind of like surprising, like how amazing how big he blew up in Chicago as well?
Honestly, he was the one player I played with in junior where I was like, he's going to be an NHL player. I was 16. I was like 5'5", like 140, maybe 145, playing against grown men in junior. And back then guys were huge. Like, now they pick any player. Back then they wouldn't put you on the ice unless you're 6 feet and could run through a wall, right, at like 16. So Seabrook was like 6'2" or 3 when he was 17. He could shoot the puck like probably as hard as he could today at 17. He was just a physically big man, and he was really good. So I remember when we were, I was 16 and then 17 playing with him, he would hit the one-timer, as hard as anybody. And he could really dictate the pace of the game with just how he played. And everyone knows how good of a first pass he made, especially for that era, right? So he was the one player I played with where I was like, he's a no-brainer. Like, he's going to play in the NHL. I didn't know what his ceiling would be, but I think he even far surpassed the ceiling that a lot thought of him. He's had an unbelievable career, and it's no shock to me, though.
Yeah, so all right, so you talked about being drafted, got picked up by Boston in the 5th round, and then you got dealt to Chicago. What was your perception of Chicago? Because, when you made that transition over out here, they were nowhere near what they were when you guys were playing. Like, this was pre-Kane, pre-Taves. Did you have any idea that, there's the potential there, or was it just one of those all right, well, another chance to get some ice time and improve my career?
Yeah, well, when I got traded to Chicago, I was pissed off because I was with Providence, and I was playing on a line with David Krejci, and we were lighting it up. And I was 20, and I was told I was probably going to get called up. And then Sean Donovan got hurt. And actually, a couple of weeks prior, we were at a bar we were having a couple of drinks in Norfolk, and we were playing the Hawks. We're playing the Hawks, like the AHL team. And I remember looking at their lineup with all the 1st and 2nd round draft picks. And I was sitting there with Matt Lashoff. I still remember where we were, saying, if there was one team in the minors I don't want to get traded to, or a team in the NHL, it's Chicago. Like, you would have no chance to make the Blackhawks. And I vividly remember that conversation. And then 2 weeks later, we were on our way up. I thought I was getting called up to the NHL. They called me up to the front of the bus, and they're like, no, you didn't get called up, but you got traded. So I was I remember going back to my seat, and I was kind of heartbroken. I was for sure crying in my seat. But because I was like, man, I never thought I'd play in the NHL. And then I was kind of going through a time in junior, and then I finally turned around my career, really worked hard at it, thought I had an organization that wanted me, and I was playing so good. I was playing I played my best hockey ever at that point. And then I was just traded, and I was like, it could literally happen like that. And then you got to go to a new team. And I had to start at the bottom again in Rockford, or in Norfolk at the time. They put me on the fourth line, and I had to work up, and I was playing on the first line basically all year. So it's almost like I had to start back at the bottom again, go through my lumps and work my way up. And so that part sucked. And also it sucked because they had first and second rounders that were going to get a chance before me. So I didn't like that either. And I had better stats than them all. So I wasn't happy about that. But I knew it was another hard ride I was going to have to go through in order to get to the NHL. And I was willing to do it. It just, I would be lying to tell you if I was really happy about it at the moment. And then when I got to Chicago, they were also the NHL team there was no fans in the stands, right?
Yeah.
And there was no one there. And I remember going to a bar in 2007 and I pulled out my NHL card. And then like go to the back of the line, they didn't care about the Blackhawks. So it's
Jesus.
It's much different then than it was even a year later. A year later, 2008, it was like on steroids. It was crazy, the transition of the team. But yeah, personally, when I first got there, I didn't even know what Chicago was like. I swear to God, I didn't even know what the city was. I still remember going there for camp my first time. It was in the summertime. We showed up in Chicago. I'm like, holy, Chicago's got like a lot of skyscrapers. Like they're a big city. And my buddy, I remember it was Bufflin actually. He's like, you're an idiot.
like you had no idea that Chicago was like a big city at all.
I knew it was big, but I didn't know how big it was. I just thought it was a big city. Like I didn't know anything about Chicago, like nothing. I grew up in like Southern Alberta, basically 40 minutes north of the Montana border. The biggest city I really went to was Calgary, or Edmonton.
Yeah.
I mean, you learn about Chicago in geography class, but realistically, I didn't know anything. I flew to Providence, played on the East Coast, and that was really as far as away as I've been from home, besides playing for Team Canada at Belarus. But it was realistically the first time I ever lived that far away from home in a new country. So Chicago, I just remember being downtown the first time. Buff still laughs about it to this day.
Man, after that's amazing. So after that, like 2009 season, like heading into 2010 with that Stanley Cup season, did you guys like kind of know it was like cup or bust that year?
Oh, 100%. I remember me and Sharp were sitting in the it was the old room, because I think they revamped the new room, and it's where all the players would sit on the lounge. And we lost the first cup. I think we were 1-2 against Nashville in 2010. And I remember we were just sitting in that room and we're like, if we don't lose, we're all gone. Or if we lose, we're all gone, right? Or most of us are gone, and it's cup or bust. So we knew the pressure. And that's why I think that first round, especially against Nashville, was so hard, because they were a really good team. They weren't close to our level at all. But what happened is I think we were really feeling the pressure of this is a cup or bust. And that's why that round was so hard, I believe. They were a good team, but again, they weren't close to what we were.
Yeah.
Was that that Hossa goal, because you're talking about that series, that time goal, was that right there the defining moment? Like, yep, this is us.
100%.
This is our cup.
Yeah, 100%. The Kane goal before that.
Yeah.
And then Hossa comes out. That's like, I remember that was probably as crazy as I went close to winning, like when we won in Philly. Like I never felt that happy, I think, in my life after a game. It was almost like it was a movie, right? He scores shorthanded. We're down 5 minutes. Hossa comes out of the box, goes back door and scores. It was like, I remember John Madden was laying out on the PK, blocking like Weber's shots.
Oh my God.
Because we scored and then we still had to kill another, I believe it was 3 minutes roughly. Like, don't quote me on the time. But starting overtime, we're still killing for 3-4 minutes, and Madden's laying out, Boland, everyone's laying out. It was just like, right when that ended, it was like, we're going to win. Like, we have to now. So that was wild. Like, that was wild. That whole sequence.
That was like the perfect example of what I felt of your guys' season that year. Cause it always felt like no matter what situation you guys got into, there was still that confidence level that you guys were pulling out the win. Like, I don't think there was many games that I watched that year where I was like, oh, this is done. They're not coming back. I always thought, okay, these guys got it. They're going to come back and somehow, like, was that the same general sense you guys had the entire season too?
yeah, we like realistically there, like we had adversity a little bit after. It would have been after the Olympic break. We didn't play very good for a couple of weeks, but I think we got beat like 8-1 or something by Columbus in Columbus. And then we came back to Chicago the next night and there was like a bed sheet hanging from the Raptors saying start Niemi. I remember. It was like,
Okay.
yeah, they were going after Hue. But there was realistically, there was at no point did we ever doubt ourselves. I was hands down not even close, the most confident team I've ever played on. It's like we knew we were a really good team. We were deep, and we cared deeply for each other too, because we came up, a lot of us in the minors, and if not in the minors, we were young together and hanging out. And it was just that to me is hands down the tightest, most confident, cocky, fun to watch, fun to play team I've ever played on personally.
I honestly, during that season, I think it was like October or November, you guys were playing against Calgary and went down 5-0 and had that comeback, and Seabrook had won it in overtime and 6-5. And I remember just watching that game and just being like, oh my God, I can't believe it's 5-0. And I just like had a weird feeling with the way the guys were playing. And I was just like, goals started happening and I was like, oh my fucking God, they're gonna come back in this. And then it happened. I was like, this team's got it. They're gonna fucking do it all, and I know it. And I'm just like, there's no way of counting them out. Like you can just tell, like you were saying, like the team's cocky and confident. You can just see it with every line and just rolling everybody out there, and everybody was dangerous. And you're just like, God, what a team to watch that was. What?
Yeah, and I think looking at all of them too, it was the one that had for sure the most pressure, right? Like
Yeah.
It was a win or bust. We'd been together for quite a while, and even like just like it brought the love of hockey back to Chicago. You know what I mean? And it's to me, I look back on the situation as so grateful and so happy. And I look back in another sense, just like it sucks that we didn't all get to come back for the next year just to reap the benefits of everything that the fans put in, the management put in, and all the coaching staff and players. It would have been nice to play one more season together. And even just to see a banner raising. I mean, I've never seen one banner raised, and I've got two Stanley Cups, right? But to see it together, the banner get raised with my teammates that we went to war with and really helped, bring hockey back. Obviously, Kane and Taze and those guys are way more instrumental than I ever was. But as a team, I'm saying it would have been nice to just do that together and really reap the benefits of everything and all the hard work we did to try to do that for the city.
I mean, I was going to say, like, too, when you finally brought that cup back to Chicago, like, how amazing was that? Like, being part of that team that ended that longest, like, cup drought in the NHL.
It was crazy. I remember we shared it with the fans so much too in 2010. We tried to go to everyone's favorite restaurant, everyone's favorite bar, everyone's favorite establishment they hung out. We really tried to bring it around the city for everyone to see. And it was a traveling circus in the sense that like everywhere the cup went, it was like the place would light up. It's an energy I've never seen before. It was crazy. Like we'd walk into like a sushi restaurant, and then all of a sudden the music would start playing, and every single person in the sushi restaurant would be up dancing, taking pictures. And then we'd leave and it would be like, just, they go back to hanging out, it was just like crazy energy. And it was wild. It was so much fun.
Yeah, we're talking about being a circus. My uncle's actually a Chicago police officer, and he was like kind of part of his shift was walking around with you guys, and he would text me, he goes, God, these guys fucking party animals, man. And he's like, I can't keep up with them kind of thing. So you definitely could tell you guys enjoyed that.
The police were awesome, right? And they really escorted everyone around, made sure everyone was safe, and got from place to place. They didn't have an easy job. Like I remember one time we were outside Shenanigans, I believe it was called. It's on Rush, and I can't remember. And everyone found out the cup was there, and it's right by the tavern on Rush.
Yeah. Okay.
There was arguably 5 to 10,000 people there, but the whole street was packed and we couldn't even get to the bus. We had to like pass the cup along a crowd of people, and the police were having just to make sure everyone could move and get out. And it was just like a pop-up party, not a party. We're just trying to get out to go to the bus. And the police were, they had to really get everyone around town, and they did an incredible job. It would not have been easy, especially just like we had to, random areas that we would go to. Right. And so I couldn't imagine how busy they would have been.
Yeah. I mean, I remember one of my buddies, I think he was working at a restaurant at the time, and he was like doing like security, and he was telling me about how like they had to sneak Sharpie out the back one time. And I was just like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, no, everybody wants to look at him. Everybody wants to touch him. And it's like, yeah, just go out this way, my guy. Like, we got you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It was an incredible time though. It was really shared with the fans. And I mean, that was, I don't know, I think that lasted like a week and a half. So
how did like the 2015 Cup compare to it? Because it was like you were away from the team, then you came back. First off, like, were you surprised when you got dealt it back to Chicago, or is that something you kind of thought was happening?
I was surprised. I mean, I was coming off ACL surgery, and in camp that year, it was only about 5 months after surgery, and I started skating, and I wasn't playing good, and my hip was acting up and my knee, and I was not ready to play, but I decided to go ahead and try to play. And then I was not good at all in Florida. And then they fired Kevin Dineen. And soon after they moved me out, obviously I wasn't producing and I was making a lot of money, and they had to move on. But at the time I still thought they were going to wait for me to get healthy until the next year. I would have liked that personally, just because I thought that's what was going to happen. But then when I found out it was Chicago, I was super happy about going back to Chicago, but I was a little pissed at the sense that I thought I was going to be able to play in Florida and make work the contract I signed. So when I came back to Chicago, I was also worried at the fact that I literally had one leg, you know what I mean? Like I was just I clearly couldn't play at the level I was at before. And what were they expecting? So for the minutes I was given that year to defend myself, I mean, I still had a half point a game for, not playing, like playing third, fourth line, not playing much. So I was proud of what I did. It sucks that I couldn't give any more, because I do deep down feel that, I got really sick too during the Minnesota series. And then in the LA series, like I was playing like garbage, right? And I was sick and I wasn't good. And so I do feel that if I could have been at a decent level, that we could have maybe made the Cup that year. You know what I mean? In 2014, I feel like,
oh yeah,
I truly feel like if I could have been at the level, if I was at the level I was playing at in Florida, when I was at the top of my game, I probably wouldn't have been traded. But if I was at that level, we would have been in the final. I truly believe that, because I was playing at such a high level. And then a year later, I'm playing like not good at all. So I'm not defending how I was playing. But I sometimes think about that. There's nothing I could have done, and then in 2014-15, that's what happened. I went back. I had to change my diet a lot, just for what I was eating and the issues I was having with my gut. And then I really went to work, and I came out in that 14-15 season playing some of my best hockey. And then at Christmas time, I broke my hand. So, I broke the third metacarpal, I believe it is, or tarsal. I don't know, right here. So basically,
we're not doctors.
Yeah. So my hand right here this was completely broken half, and it was down here. Oh. So they had to pin my hand back. And it was
that in a game or in practice?
It was in the Winter Classic. Eric Fair took a shot and it broke my hand.
Okay.
And then I missed about 8 weeks, came back at the 9-week mark, and my hand was brutal. And I played another like 15 games before playoffs. And I missed time, and I was not good in the last 15 games. Had a bit of a reduced role. And then I came back in the playoffs, and I wasn't good at all again in the playoffs. That's why but I was just happy other guys were to really pick it up for me, because then kind of gave me a chance, to get better and get ready for the finals against Tampa Bay. So
Like
I was
low pressure situation for you too. Kind of like, it's like, if it doesn't go well for you, you got enough, let's guy up type of situation. So it's like, you can do what you need to do.
Yeah, I was more worried at the fact that I came back to Chicago and I wasn't good, and then I was really good, and then it's like, and then I came back and my hand wasn't great and I wasn't playing great, and then I was like, oh man, this is going to end bad. But during those, during the month off, I really focused on, and then I focused on getting I had osteus pubis too, but making sure that like I was healthy, that if I did get the call, that I would be ready to go. And that's what I focused on during that month. And I remember my son was born on June 1st June 2nd, sorry. And I got a call from Quenneville. He's like, you're playing tomorrow, so make sure you get here. So I saw my son get born. I flew out that night. I got to Tampa and I played game 1. So it was, I was just really happy I could get back to a good level during the finals in Tampa Bay and contribute and help the team win. So it definitely saved how I think I would have felt about myself after winning.
Would you say that one cup was a little bit more special than the other? Like one being like ending the drought, or like the other one being like vindication for like working so hard and coming back like from injury and still like putting that effort in and still getting the chance to win a championship? Yeah,
from 2010, basically 2011 to 2015, I had 4 major surgeries, right?
Yeah.
I had ACL with the meniscus issue blown out, fractured tibia. Then I had hip, double groin, and hand. So
Jesus.
Looking at the 15 one, I'm super happy at the resilience. But to me, there's nothing compares to 2010. And that's just my honest answer. And also I was a bigger contributor in 2010, right?
Yeah.
I was a bigger contributor. I mean, do they mean more to me in a sense of winning a Stanley Cup? No, but on a personal level, like knowing what I gave to 2010 and everything, for sure. It was just, again, like the team was really tight in 2015 too, and we had a really good team. But that 2010 team to me, again, it's just the most special team I've ever been on. And that's, if you want an honest answer, I'll give you that. Yeah. If you don't like my honest answer, I'm not going to apologize. But
kind of figured 2010 would mean a little bit more. But
yeah. But the thing is, you don't want to take anything away from the other teammates that you won with in 2015, because again, it's insanely special. If I would have never won 2010 and won 2015, I wouldn't think any different. I would think like, wow, this is incredible,
Yeah.
But the 2010, I increased role. First time in 49 years, guys that I played with in the minors, a lot of still my best friends today. It was just such an incredible experience, and both were, but 2010 to me.
Just, absolutely amazing. And I mean, we're just going to kind of fast forward a bit and just like ask you a little bit, like, what are you up to now? I know we've seen some clips of you on Sportsnet talking shit to BX, which is probably one of my favorite things that's going on. And I know, I think I was following like Bickle on Instagram, and he was doing the Battle of the Blades, and you were doing it as well. Yeah. I don't think we got that here in America though. So
no,
like, what you been up to?
Bickle got me to do Battle of the Blades. I ended up doing it. It was a good, fun experience. I'm doing some TV. I do radio 3 days a week across Canada. I break games down on Mondays for Toronto, Wednesdays for Calgary, and then generally Friday for Toronto as well. So that, and then I do TV once a week, generally on Fridays up here at Sportsnet. And personally, about a year ago, I was going to do independent coach consulting for some kids for my agent to try to help, anywhere from 12 to 14-year-olds that he has on that are going to play junior. And right around that time, I hired my brother and a friend of mine. He's like one of the coaches for the Lethbridge Hurricanes. It's like the same league as the Chicago Steel. Mm-hmm. And we decided we were going to do this independent coach consulting, but from there, we decided, hey, why are we going to use other applications? Let's build our own, right? And so kind of from that point on, we started to build our own app for athletes, parents, and coaches. And we've designed this piece of tech, and then we had to test the tech, and now we're designing around it, and we're getting really close to, we're in alpha beta stage right now. That's a bit of to let you know about it. It's not a feature that would be it's not a product that's on the store yet, but it's getting pretty close. And this is, for me, something I think that's going to completely help and change. First off, it's going to change how coaches and parents watch their kids play in youth sport, especially. And it's gonna just help a lot of kids and coaches get video feedback, something that was never really there. And it's gonna, just the whole process and product that we have, I think it's gonna be something that is really revolutionary for youth sport. And I know I'm using some big words and craziness, but that's kind of like, it's crazy just to see it, and meeting with tons of youth organizers and everyone about the product. And again, at some point I can come on the show again and teach all your fans a little bit more about it in depth. I just can't go insanely in depth yet on the tech and everything. But
right.
If you're a coach, if you're an athlete, if you're a fan, there's going to be a piece for fans in it too. We did the tech piece is designed for fans, specifically one piece. But if you're a coach, athlete, parent, or fan, sign up on my website, the klevr.ai, and the newsletters will keep you up, and we'll get you into beta testing. We'll try to get you into beta testing to test the product, just so you see what we see. But yeah, that's what I've been up to for, we became a company 9 months ago, but for the last year, between research and building this product, that's been the majority of my time.
Is that something that's going to be available? Is it just going to be Canada? Or are you going to do like, the States too? Or
yeah, it's going to be for Canada, the US. Obviously our target market is going to be Lethbridge, my hometown, but Toronto, Calgary. If we're going to pick one market, it's Toronto, and then Chicago and Calgary as well would be the three markets that we're really trying to get in, to show the youth coaches and parents, especially parents that coach their kids, that this product's going to help them. And the biggest reason, again, I wanted to build it is because I grew up, we didn't have much. There's no way I could afford today's game to play.
Yeah.
So I wanted to build a product that's like affordable, right? You want it to be affordable for everyone. So that was my number one goal in building this whole product, is getting out to everyone and giving, everyone a tool that they can use to better their play.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely toss up like those website and like our description, social media when we're promoting this episode too, because it sounds like a really awesome thing. And we got friends that are coaches and stuff too. So I'm definitely sure they're going to be interested in that.
Yeah. Again, just reach out, and you can reach out to the app or to the website, and I'll return the message. There'll be a couple questions we'll ask you. And again, yeah, just get ready, and we'll get you into some beta testing and get you that application first, so you can kind of get a head start on it before anyone else.
That's awesome.
Did you end up choosing those markets because those are the places you played? Maybe you got some fans there.
yeah. And that's the thing. It's hard. Like, we want to choose when you talk to marketing people and everything, it's like, choose one market. If I was going to be super specific, Chicago, I said, is the first market I want to choose. I want to go to the youth market in Chicago, show them that this platform is going to help them. So Chicago is my number one choice. Obviously, I have Calgary, Toronto. I live here, so Toronto makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then keying in on the market of who we think we can help, and we think it's going to help all coaches, but for sure that really any coach, but any coach that would really like to use video.
Awesome. Pretty great. Making the game a little bit more inclusive, it seems like, too, which is awesome.
That's exactly what it was. We, trying to bring the 99% to the 1%, right? That's a little bit of the goal. That is the goal from the beginning, is to do that and to try to make everyone included in the community.
That's really awesome. Well, it's been a good time with you here. We got one more question, then we're gonna do this quick rapid fire question for you, and then we'll let you go. So this one we ask every guest on the show. Favorite hockey memory or moment of your career? We always tell you when we talk to you, you and your former teammates can't pick the cup, obviously.
Yeah.
So, so whether it's you playing it, something you watched, do you have a one memory that sticks out?
Well, my favorite ever moment was my first ever game in the NHL. My favorite ever moment that had nothing to do with the game was bringing the Stanley Cup. I know it's not winning, but it's bringing it back to Lethbridge and handing it off to my grandfather.
Nice.
Makes me super emotional still to this day. He's the reason, I could play. Well, my dad and mom did everything they could, but if it wasn't for them paying for us, me and my brothers would never play hockey. So they're the ones who did everything. So that moment for me is the most special moment of my entire career.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. So let's just get some rapid fires going. What's your most memorable goal that you ever had? It doesn't even have to be in the NHL, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, it's got to be, man. It's Vancouver, end of Game 2, 2010, and there's also Game 5 in the final. But Game 2, that goal, we could have gone down 2-0 in that series, and the building went nuts. Hands down my most memorable, and I don't care. It's more memorable than my first goal I scored when I was 6. It was amazing.
Just the chilling feeling that you get from the stands going crazy in the United Center.
There was I still look back on that goal and you still see the Hawk fans. There's this one Hawk fan grabbing his shirt, screaming as loud as he can. You should pull it up and play it on here. He's literally looking at the camera, like screaming as loud as he can, ripping his shirt off. It was it was madness. It really was madhouse.
All right. Who was your favorite non-Blackhawk teammate?
Oh, there's a lot.
Maybe a top 3 then?
Yeah, Matt Stajan.
Okay.
Yeah. For sure, Matt. Colby Armstrong. And man, I played on a lot of teams. Yeah, Matt Stajan, Colby Armstrong, and I was gonna say Troy, but I played with him in Chicago, so I won't say Troy. And he's an asshole. Troy's a fucking asshole. Who am I gonna go with? I should go with Calgary. I'll go with Sean Monahan. I got a lot.
Okay.
Great friends though.
I was gonna say, is he not the Twitter handle that makes fun of him with a boring Sean Monahan Twitter handle?
No, I could see how that was made though. He's a funny guy. I honestly, I think back though, there's, Philadelphia. There's a lot of great fun teammates. Florida, Brian Campbell too. I know I played with him in Chicago, but I played with him for 3 years in Florida almost too, right? So Soupy for sure too.
What's the favorite line you ever played on?
Well, for a little bit, it was for sure Fleischman and Weiss. That was again, I wish that Versteeg would have came to Chicago because that was the best hockey I've ever played. There was a stint until I tore my hip. Probably game 40, I don't know, but our line was on fire and helped bring a team that should have never made the playoffs. Not saying it was our line, that team should have, we didn't really, we're just thrown together kind of, and we made the playoffs. We won the division and we lost in game 7 double overtime to New Jersey. But obviously my favorite line mate ever playing with is Patrick Kane. I love playing with him. Q didn't use us together. He used us together a lot. It wasn't like for a month on end. We had some really good spurts together. Kaner doesn't really need much, but he was my but that's what I was saying. It wasn't like I played with him a full season, but that's why I would say Fleischman and Weiss, because we played together every single game, every single minute all season.
You got the chemistry just going the whole time. Yeah. I know Q used to like switch up the lines like all the time, it seemed like.
It was jambalaya, man.
Yeah.
It's like that's what you say to Hossa.
Oh yeah.
How's the jambalaya?
All right. Last question from me. It's just gonna be like, what do you miss most about the NHL?
Just being around the guys. It's crazy. You grow up around, and that's, I mean, the most cliche answer ever. But the in-depth reason for it is these guys are people that had the same goals, aspirations, and dreams that you had, and they're really, you have so much in common with them that when you leave the game, you start to find at times you miss the people that you have an insane amount in common with. And I can see that's why guys go back to the game. But you're at the rink every day, playing at the highest level with everyone who has the same goal. So I just miss being around them and joking around. And I don't miss the ups and downs of the game. But the guys.
Awesome. And then, all right, the last question and first word that comes to mind when you hear the name Phil Kessel.
Oh my God. I know it's more than one word. Man, he was my roommate. Yeah. He was my roommate in Toronto. He was a funny guy. So many stories. I also played with him in Boston. I think I told this story the other day on radio. I don't know if the Hawk fans heard it, but John Whitesides told me and Matt Lashoff when I was 19, turning 20 in Boston. I was 20 by then. He's like, hey, make sure you watch Phil and make sure he doesn't eat like shit. And I'm like, okay. So Sean Donovan brings me, Phil Kessel, and Matt Lashoff out to eat seafood that night. So we're like, oh, Phil can't eat that bad. We're eating seafood.
Yeah. So
Phil orders food, and we're just sitting there, and they bring the food. They bring a full deep fried dish of fried like seafood. Like I'm talking like clams were fried, like lobster was fried. And then you should have seen Sean Donovan, but like we're all like, what the fuck, Phil? He's like, don't worry about it. And then the next day I got back to the rink, and he was in the fat camp because he's riding the bike. And so he's riding the bike, and he's like, Steger, I shouldn't eat that deep fried seafood. And I'm like, it's okay, Phil. And he's like, who told Whitesides? I forgot exactly how it was. I'm like, well, I might. He got so angry because I ratted on him for eating like shit to Whitesides, but it was funny.
That's fucking great.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Well, Kris, thank you so much for joining us. And like we said in the beginning, Chicago loves you, despite what you might think. Definitely in your corner.
I apologize again for those last 2 years, man. Anyways.
Hey, there's a cup there. That doesn't matter.
Exactly. Thanks for all your support, though, guys, and good luck with the podcast. And
thank you. Yeah, we'll definitely gotta get you on again once you launch your site and your app.
Of course. Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome.
Thanks, Kris.
Thanks, Kris.
Take care, guys.
All right, thank you so much again to Kris Versteeg for hopping on with us. Like you said, absolute fucking beauty. Knew it was going to be a good interview. I did not think it was going to be that fucking good.
Yeah, I was very excited to start, very excited all the way through, and still jazzed.
Still jazzed. We fucking jazzed. We're going to be this jazzed up on Sunday when we record.
Oh God, as long as the Hawks don't lose again.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, so episode 133. I think I'm going to name this one. I think we're going to call it Happy Birthday, featuring Kris Versteeg.
That's fine.
All right, sorry to steal your thunder there.
It's fine.
Did you have another one?
No, I didn't have anything. I never have anything. I told you that. It's always just at that moment.
All right. So again, thank you, Kris, for coming on. Make sure to follow us on, subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Follow us.
Yeah, he has video, by the way. So
yeah, there is video. We forgot to mention that. Fuck. Should have mentioned that in the beginning.
Go back and watch it on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Yeah, you're gonna see the tweet. I'm gonna be putting out with that saying, "No, there's a video." Blah, blah,
but it's okay. It'll be cool. We'll have some good Instagram stuff then.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, leave a review. Follow the Hockey Podcast Network, DraftKings. Give them all your money. Promo code THPN. Go Kentucky Derby. That'll happen after or before we record that. So let's go Ponies. Yeah. Anything else, Tanner?
I don't know, man. Let's just all have a good time.
Have a good time. All right. We'll see you on the next one.
All right. Love you, boys. Bye.